honourable member from Calgary-Klein.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to speak against Bill 2, the Back to Work legislation. Well, if you talk to teachers, they'll tell you. That's a quote from our Premier. But has she actually talked to any teachers? Because I think if she had, we wouldn't be where we are now, with a public education system in crisis and the biggest public service strike in Alberta's history. Before I go further, I want to thank teachers for everything they do in difficult circumstances as a parent and as a fellow public school grad. This government has preemptively used the notwithstanding clause to undermine our teachers' bargaining rights, not just now, but for years to come. This move is undemocratic, unconstitutional, and a betrayal of our educators, students, and our province as a whole, and it's a pattern. The minister's opposite have justified Bill 2 as a way to prevent learning loss, irreparable harm, and labour unrest. But that harm has already happened, and they've done it through willful neglect. The anxiety, the compromised potential of our students, the lack of supports, the loss of hope, most importantly, for students and teachers, that lays squarely at the feet of this government. What we see now is the result of choices this government has made. They've stopped reporting on classroom sizes. They did that in 2020. They voted down a motion from the member from Calgary-Beddington to report on classroom size and complexity. That was a choice. They ignored teachers, students, and parents who have been talking about ballooning classroom sizes for years. That's a choice. And keeping our per-student funding at the lowest in the country, also a choice. For years, we've had to listen to this government's justifications and deflections for their failures to plan for growth. Blame inclusion, blame immigration, blame teachers for advocating, and somehow they expect us to all still believe that they care about student mental health and our students' future prospects. Not if you're willing to other them, and certainly not if you're willing to trample on their human rights or silence them. We're hearing from students, some as young as 9, some teens like Evan Lee and my constituent Layla, who will be sending a letter to the minister soon. They are part of a youth movement that holds more care and compassion for their teachers than this government is capable of, and they will not forget. This government may be able to turn off a mic, but this crop of students is like fierce older siblings speaking up for everyone coming up behind them. They're a force to be reckoned with, and this government would do better to show them some respect as well. Conditions in the classroom are a major pain point, and through the conversations I've had, I've heard about broken bookshelves, black mold on ceilings, and mouse droppings where kids sit to read. I've heard about that desperate need for EAs in complex classrooms. I've heard about the impacts on mental health and people wanting to leave the profession. In many ways, this bill is the government's let-them-eat-cake moment. They've likely not spent any time in these classrooms, and I don't think that they would. After all, the carpets for story time in these classrooms aren't quite like the new ones gracing the floors of the Premier's office. But the UCP has plenty of money to spare on that and ad campaigns attacking teachers. They're forcing teachers and students back into untenable situations. They won't negotiate in good faith, they cut off mics, plug their ears, and refuse to invest in public education. The treatment of our public education has all the hallmarks of an abusive relationship. They will continue their pattern of control and abuse of power, and they will likely pass this bill. But that's the thing about abusive relationships. You can't force respect, and you cannot force trust. And with Bill 2, this government has lost both. And well, Premier, if you talk to Albertans, they'll tell you they deserve better.
Yes.
The honourable member from Calgary-Elbow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Education made